Welcome to another episode of our Spotlight series, where we delve into the journeys of inspiring leaders, shaping industries and driving transformation. And we are honoured to have Chandrani Chakraborty with us, a senior HR leader who's mastered the art of transformation and change management. And with over 25 years of experience in the financial industry and a wealth of expertise in managing distributed teams across Asia Pacific and now in the UK, Chandrani brings a unique blend of leadership, strategy, and people development. So let's dive into her journey and learn from her insights.
Hello, Susan.
Welcome. Thank you very much for coming along. Chandrani, you've had a remarkable journey working with HR and business teams across multiple geographies like Korea, UK, Singapore, and India. What were some of the key challenges that you faced managing teams in these diverse cultural environments, and how did you overcome them?
Susan, I often like to think that people are people. And there is an intrinsic feeling about how they are valued and where they are, positions, circumstances, and what's driving them culturally forms the part of the ecosystem of that people. These markets are very different, as you rightly pointed out. They are culturally different. The work ethos, the economies are different, and all that plays a bit of a role in how we start dealing with people. I must say that yes, there have been challenges. I can't profess to say that I'm best at international relations and I could be probably going to the UN next, but challenges come up. I'd love to tell you a story when I first went to Korea. I was on a project, and this was city acquiring another organization. So we went in there as an acquisition company. The other bit of it, I was very junior. I was thrown into this due diligence project, great opportunity for me. So anyways, I walked into one of these meeting rooms, because this was a due diligence on the people function. And I walked in and being as direct and who I am, boundaryless, picked up the first chair and sat in because I walked in first, went deep inside. I had these series of gentlemen who came out and then just stood till somebody had to point out that, one, I was from an acquisition company. Two, I was fairly junior. Three, it also mattered that I was female or whatever it is. In all permutation, combination, I'd probably be sitting near the door or behind rather than sitting in front. It was a small moment in time, but, it left me with a lot of, learning that you need to think about context. The me today will still not accept it. Maybe I had accepted it then, but you have to continuously be aware of your situations and challenges. So that was probably an example of how sometimes being unaware can cause challenges. So being aware, understanding the context, understanding where you are is probably the most important thing when you start dealing with people.
Great, and that was a great example to share. Thank you. With your extensive experience in the financial industry, you've mentioned applying a financial lens to your people practices. Could you share how this perspective has shaped your approach to HR and added value to your organisation?
Thanks, Susan. I'm a strong believer of, talk the language that people understand. Oftentimes, I have seen people practitioners who move to the other end of the spectrum where they are talking just the theory and the right things for the people practice, but forget the business. I have, for myself, as well as my team, spend a lot of time pushing and understanding the business, understanding the language. When you can do that, you can actually relate all the good stuff you want to do as a part of the people function within that context, right? Another example would be, say, diversity. And nobody in their right mind will tell you diversity is not important. But if we can continuously relate to how having a diverse team is directly impactful to the sales forces on the ground, and you start looking like your customer, and this is where the benefit would come in if somebody was trying to drive sales or customer relationship or just different thinking, that gives a better buy-in. So I take it upon myself always to understand the business, be it banking and now insurance, understanding the value drivers, and therefore talk the language, which then builds the first level of trust. I think it's table stakes anymore. People function, just doing only people is not relevant anymore. We have a seat in the table. That discussion is gone. We went through a journey where should people have a seat on the table? You definitely have a seat on the table. You've earned it. And now you have to probably think boundaryless, and the biggest value comes is when you can speak in their language.
Great, thank you. Completely agree. So you have led the organisational design and people development initiatives in multinational organisations. Can you walk us through one significant transformation project that you've been part of and what leadership lessons you took away from it?
So most of the transformations, surprisingly, Susan, are similar. Right. So it's whether I've done it in banks before or I'm doing it as a part of my current role, there is a similarity to it. The transformation has to unlock business value. It needs to go, there has to be a from and a to journey, which is, what will make it better. And finally, it'll impact people, because financial service industry is largely about the people, right? So that similarity and common thread flows through. In one example, it was a big change where we were actually restructuring major part of a division of a bank. I think a couple of leadership lessons I learned is, with each individual, people like to be motivated by clarity and purpose. You have a purpose and you give them clear on their roles. That kind of brings a lot of the angst down. When we can't link it to a purpose, why are we doing this? And then what's your role in it? I've seen transformations fail. That's one big difference. The second, I think, is authenticity and genuineness and transparency. When leaders are doing transformation just to probably get somebody out of the organization, or they're probably changing transformation to build empires, that inauthenticity passes through. A genuine drive, a genuine reason to do it, and the right narrative behind it is important. And which brings me to my third lesson. The why and the narrative is very important. People may not like what you're saying, but at least they'll understand it. Transformation and change is never going to be yay, let's transform, yay, change. You will have early adopters, you will have laggards, you will have people who are mixed bag saying, meh, I don't know what this means, is the fifth one we've seen. But it's the why that you can stand behind, across from the top to all the people supporting this transformation. I think those three things, clarity, purpose, transparency, and the narrative, are probably things that I would say are big lessons.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And I'm really interested to know, how do you see the future of leadership evolving, and what skills do you believe that HR leaders need to focus on to guide their organizations through this change?
I think, and it's probably a buzzword nowadays, but I think this whole journey that we're going on with AI is hugely going to disrupt the world, right? It already has. You're seeing AI trading, you're seeing AI-based underwriting, you're seeing AI-based customer service, including to a large extent how people functions are dealing with AI, right? So there is this very interesting industry, organization, societal change we're seeing with artificial intelligence that has its own demand on leadership. I came out of a conference last week where we were talking about headcount, or FTE, in terms of the future would be bionic and robotic. You'll have full humans, you'll have humans aided by AI, and then you just have robots, right? So you could think of your workforce, not just people, but a range of workforce, and you have to be able to therefore realize where and who you want to use in that situation, right? The Kinnaman framework on problems and how to think of problems has also brought it into leadership, where simple solutions can actually be done by robots, right? If this, then that, just pass it to robots. Then you have maybe a little bit more complex problems that you will probably look at your middle management to do. You'll probably look at your leaders to do, because there is a solution, but you want to build collaboration, you want to do. Then the higher complex problems is where leaders are dealing with, and they don't really have a solution. They have to start experimenting on the edges. They have to see what works, come back. So the demands of leadership in this era is hugely different than what we have seen. I think AI is going to play a big force. The ability to be agile in the head, the agility, I'm not just talking about agile principles, but the agility in the head, multiple workforces, experimentation, innovation, and finally, just having a bit more dealing with ambiguity, I think makes a big difference on the leadership today. I think it's really changing and very disruptive.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as a certified leadership trainer and MBTI practitioner, how do you integrate coaching and mentoring into your daily work to enhance team leadership and talent development? And additionally, how do these practices align with the leadership development programs and solutions?
So one of the big roles a senior business partner, a people director does is coaching the team, right? I mean, you need to be able to stand up, role model for your leaders, give them a call out, tell them when, in their nicest possible way, or the hardest truth. I'm often known for shot between the eyes, but the hardest truth and the nicest ways when things are not working. So I'd often see that coaching is a big part of supporting leaders in our area. I don't like when we say the people function or the HR function is the police. No, they're not. We are as much integrated in the business organization, but there is a role that we play as culture carriers, role model, calling out when things are wrong, holding the values of the organization. So, I mean, it's integral to what I do, Susan. So I can't say that, it's an element I bring in. That's what I do most of the times, in and out, and talking to senior leaders and making sure that we're meeting the organization as well as their objectives. So it's really part of what I do.
Yeah, thank you. And as Group People Director, how have you approached organisational transformation to align with the needs of the insurance industry, particularly in a global setting like the UK?
I would reiterate, Susan, on what I had said earlier, understanding the business. And for me, that means a lot of outside in. Right. So when I transitioned from banking to insurance, one would assume financial services, and there is similarity. No, there is not, right? One of my biggest lessons came in when my organization organized for a tour at the Lloyd's marketplace. Lloyd's is think of it like a traditional marketplace where underwriters sit and they underwrite risks, right? So there is benches. It's like an exchange or a market, right? It's only when you bring the outside in, you understand the DNA, you understand the industry trends, you understand the fact that insurance organization by nature deals with risk. And, there is a certain premium to that ability to understand the risk and understand where it's going. That level of understanding what, say, a Chubb is doing, AIG is doing, AXA is doing, that level of outside in is very important. And one of the things both the group CPO from QBE does, the people we support in our area does, is that we make sure we have regular forums of outside in, right? Going out, meeting people, understanding what's happening. It's key, because world is changing, and you want to be, if not the, in some areas you don't want to be the leader, but in some areas you want to have a unique brand of yourself. So as a people practitioner, don't forget the outside in. You have to keep developing yourself, and that will probably make the big difference as to understanding what's happening in your industry.
Yeah, great, thank you. And finally, as someone who's seen the HR field evolve over 2 decades, what's one piece of advice that you would give to aspiring HR leaders who are aiming to make a lasting impact in their organizations?
be open. As much as you can, build your experience in different areas. Like even if you were in one organization, work with sales teams, work with marketing teams, distribution teams, operation teams, work with different people. If possible, go out and get a stint in the business, come back, be business savvy, use technology. I'm giving more than one, but the idea of agility, be open, go multiple geographies, do a lot more wherever, be opportunistic, right? Be opportunistic, keep your mind open, and get in a lot more. Anything you add, there is no wasted skill. Anything you did, even failures. I know, like for instance, the Korea assignment for mine was probably the hardest, and it's given me the lessons from failures, but lasting lessons for life, right? So be open to everything and experiences, because it just adds to your toolbox, and you can pull it out someday, because we're ultimately dealing with people.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And thanks so much, Chandrani, for sharing your journey and your insights. Your experiences in transformation, leadership, people development are truly inspiring. So we wish you continued success in your endeavours, and we look forward to seeing the positive impact that you'll continue to make in the HR space. And to our audience, please stay tuned for more stories of leadership and innovation in our upcoming Spotlight episodes. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, for having me. It was a pleasure.